Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in. That was dumb. Anyways, I'm here to share a story with you all. If you care to listen, it's a story of some strange happenings that happened to me back when I was about 13 or 14 years old. It took place on Halloween, and and it was myself and my best friend at the time. He had come over, and I believe we were waiting for my mom to get back home before we went out trick or treating, because I remember we were watching horror movies and handing out candy to trick or treaters. But either way, when my friend showed up, he was dressed as he usually was. I don't remember the the person he was dressed up as, but it was funny because he's a rocker, right? He's a rock and roller. So his normal attire, everyday attire, was like a black shirt and black pants and some pretty awesome boots or shoes. Okay? And that's how he showed up at the doorstep. And I said, "Oh, you're not gonna dress up?" And he said, "Yeah, I am dressed up. I'm this person." And that was funny. On the other hand, I painted myself up as Violent J from the Insane Clown Posse. And if you're not familiar with the Insane Clown Posse, then I would advise you to go check out their channel and their music. But anyways, more specifically, I was painted up as Violent J during during their Hollow Wicked uh, face painted face paint thing. I don't know how to say that. I feel like I'm nervous, like I'm talking to somebody, but I'm not talking to anyone in front of me. I'm talking to a camera. Very bizarre. So I'm trying to act natural. I hope it's working. Anyways, so I painted my face up in black and orange, and when I opened the door, I asked who he was, and he told me what he was dressed up as. And then he asked me what I was supposed to be, and I said, "Oh, isn't it obvious? I'm a clown. I'm Violent J from the Insane Clown Posse." He was not aware of the Insane Clown Posse, but he said, "Well, you don't look like a clown." No. I said, "Well, then what the heck do I look like if I don't look like a clown?" He said, "You look like Big Gay Lion, the character from South Park, from when Big Gay L shows Stan his Big Gay Kingdom." Oh man, that was funny. I remember just almost rolling over, man. That was funny. So, anyways, we're handing out candies. Eventually, my mom comes home, and him and we set out with. We don't have regular bags, so we just had bed sheets. So, um, we started our journey. By the way, we both lived in the same area. The area was called Sky Country. I lived on one side. He lived on the other side, past the park, the Sky Country Park, which I believe is called Wineville Park. I'm not entirely sure anymore. It's been a while since I've been there. But if I remember correctly, which I probably don't, Wineville Park was the center of Sky Country. And yeah. So we started off on my side since that's where we were. And we were making a pretty good bounty. And our bags were getting heavy, so we had started off with the right side of my neighborhood, or my area. And just that alone, our bags were like halfway full. And they were pillowcases, not regular bags. So we went back to my house. We dumped out the candy. And we went back outside, taking on the left side. Not as many houses on the left side, but still pretty good bounty. Not halfway full, but a good portion. Like the bottom wasn't empty at all. We ended up going back to my house, and he collected his candy. I dumped my candy out, and we made our way to his side of Sky Country. So we walked past the park, and it was awesome. It was awesome. Families were out trick or treating. There's kids at the park playing, and their parents were watching them, and they're all in their costumes, just having a good time. It was awesome. And so he and we make it to his house. He dumps out his candy in his room, and we head back out. We start exploring everything. We're gone for maybe like an hour. In total, I'd say we were trick-or-treating for maybe 2.5 to 3 hours. So we make our way back to his house. And, we say goodnight. It's already like almost 11 o'clock, if it wasn't already 11 o'clock. So it was time for me to take myself home. So we said goodnight, did our secret handshake, and I was off. I went through some horse trails, a couple of short streets, and then across the park, the Wineville Park. Now, going back to my house, I had to walk down a pretty good stretch of road. There were houses there, but a pretty good stretch of road. Then I would have to make a right down a shorter section of road. I guess you would call it an intersection. I don't know what you would call it. I don't know. But I had to cross that, and then I would make a left, and about 3 houses down was the one that I lived in. And so that's what I was doing. I was crossing the park. It was empty. Nobody was out. The streets were empty. Nobody was out. It was late, and I had no business being outside that late. But I didn't have a cell phone, so I couldn't call. My mom, as I found out when I got home, asleep. So whatever it was that she was doing wore her out. She was asleep. She didn't even know I wasn't home by 11. So I'm walking down this stretch of road. Everything's fine. It's just very eerie, very, I guess, surreal. Kind of like the episode of The Twilight Zone where the main character is the last man on Earth. Kind of felt like that. It was just so quiet except for the rustling of the trees when the wind would blow. The only lights that were on were the street lights. The Halloween lights were all gone. Maybe some porch lights here and there, and a couple of jack-o'-lanterns that had some dying candles in them. So, not much from where I was staying. Everything was okay until I got about halfway up the road. That's when I started hearing my footsteps, accompanied by a single footstep behind me. It's weird. Who walks like that? Nobody walks with one footstep. Even if they were missing a leg, they'd have something else, like a crutch or something, that would make a noise, I would imagine. And yet, this footstep was alone. So it kind of freaked me out. I took a quick peek behind me. Couldn't see anybody. Couldn't see anything. So I was like, okay, I'll just pick up my pace. I'll pick up my pace and get home faster. So I did. And as I did, I started hearing 2 footsteps crunching on the gravel right after mine. Maybe it's my echo, I thought. Because clearly there's nobody behind me. So I did a quick turn again. This time I actually stopped and I looked. What you're not supposed to do in any horror movie. Nobody was there. The footsteps stopped. Okay, maybe it's my echo. It's so quiet out here. Why wouldn't it be my echo? And then I really thought about it. I'm in a very open space, sure, but it's not like I'm surrounded by caverns. So there really shouldn't be any other echoes. Not only that, if they were my echo, I would imagine I would hear a trail off. And I didn't. I heard my footsteps, followed by other footsteps, and that was it. There was no lingering echo effect. So I started the power walk towards that right turn, and the faster I walked, it seemed like the faster the footsteps walked. Yet they were not behind me. Like, they, as fast as they sound, they were not catching up. So I was like, okay, yeah, it's got to be my own echo. Okay. So I start slowing down as I'm nearing the right turn. I start slowing down my footsteps to see, just to test it out. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm tripping. These are echoes, my own footsteps. So I slow down, crunch, 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 crunch. But the footsteps behind me don't slow down. They remain the same pace. So I'm like, whoa, right? Freaking out. And so I just booked it. Booked it. Hit that right turn. Down that short little stretch. My overweight self. Hit that left turn. I wasn't crying. I don't cry often. And then 3 houses down, hit my house. The front door's locked. Oh, where are my keys? I gotta find my keys. Pat my pockets down. Find them. Get them out. Guess what? Like every horror movie, my hands were trembling. Oh, I can't find the key. Oh. Finally found it. Put it into the top lock. Unlocked it. Boom. Door handle. Unlocked that. About to turn the handle to open it. When it hits me, I don't hear anything. I don't even hear the rustling leaves. And I look at the trees, and sure enough, the breeze is swaying them, but I don't hear anything coming from them. I don't hear the footsteps, which is kind of a relief. But the fact that the trees are moving and not making a sound is very concerning. So I open the door. I quickly go inside, close it, lock the door handle, lock the deadbolt. And in that house in particular, we had a third chain, I believe it was. We had a latch eventually, but initially it was a chain. Lock the chain. Checked it. Made sure everything was locked. I just locked it. Needed to double check it. Nothing knocked on the door. Nothing, no shadows showed up on the porch. It was just some strangeness that happened. But yeah. That's the story I wanted to share with you all. I had plans on writing it into an actual story or a horror story. But being that I'm in the middle of writing one already, as well as revising and editing another one, which I'm shooting to upload before Halloween, or at least by Halloween. That's a nice little trick or treat. But, yeah, so that prompted me to tell you the story, and I hope it was entertaining. I don't know. I hope it was not too boring if it was boring. But overall, to any of you that watched it, thank you for watching it. If you watched all the way through, thank you even more. And if you've watched or listened to any of my stories and they've brought you some sort of joy and entertained you in some sort of way, I'm so glad and thank you so much for that. If you do have a story that you would like to share, drop it down, This is, we'll call it a spooky Halloween encounter. Okay? All right. Well, it's night where I'm at. I don't know where it is, what time of day it is where you're at, but good night or good morning.